Hi, TechCrunch. My name is Robert, and that handsome gentleman there is my partner in crime, Bedu. So the two of us are from Ghana and are really excited to be at this conference. I think TechCrunch did a great job. Can we give it up to them? TechCrunch. Woo! This conference is awesome. So whilst we are here, right, Apple just launched their iPhone 5 next door. And I know Google is going to come up with a response to that. And then the debates about smartphones gets going on, getting hotter and hotter. But guys, not everyone in the world has a smartphone. Actually, there are 5.4 billion non-smartphones on the earth right now. Bedu and I had a problem. We didn't have a smartphone. That meant that anytime we wanted to communicate with each other, we had to resort to SMS. Couldn't install all these cool smartphone applications on our phones. Maybe some of you may have forgotten how ugly and SMS looks like before iPhone came along. It wasn't threaded, it wasn't intuitive. You couldn't follow a logical conversation with SMS. So we wanted to solve that problem, make SMS sexy. Then that wasn't the only thing we faced. So where we come from and in other emerging economies, people spend up to 5% of their monthly income on just messaging. That's because they are stuck with pay-as-you-go or prepaid mobile subscription services. So we wanted to solve two problems: beautify SMS and cut the cost of SMS for people without non-smartphones drastically. And this is our solution. Can we switch to the phones? So Bedu and I built this app to cut the cost. Okay. So with Saya, users are able to send iPhone-like threaded messaging on non-smartphones to their phone contacts. Then we push it further. We allow people to create groups with their phone contacts and send messages to them and don't have to pay for 3 times, 5 times, 10 times the cost of SMS that they are used to paying right now. Not only that, we bring location to non-smartphones. Phones that don't have GPS, we bring location to these kind of devices. So I'm going to show you how a message looks like. I hope the Wi-Fi is working. So we have a prototype. We realized we couldn't get lots of feature phones working here. So we have a prototype iPhone app that I'm going to try to send a message to Bedu. Okay. So I sent him a message, hey, and that's how it looks like. And I sent another message. Oh, okay, he just switched the screen. But I guess you guys are getting the idea, right? Now we're bringing iMessaging-like messaging to phones that previously did not have that. So after solving this problem, right, we quickly saw that it wasn't just a problem for the two of us. There were so many people that had the same problem. So we pushed out a beta and sent 2,000 invitations to a couple of friends with SMS and a download link to download the app. And boom, before we knew, people in India, Indonesia, Bangladesh were just consuming our app. Can we switch to the slides? We're just consuming the app. Within 2 months, we had 400,000 downloads of a beta app. And this huge number of downloads generated a backlog of 9 million SMS invitations that we couldn't possibly afford, right? So that gave us a sense of the kind of problem that we were solving. People began talking about issues ranging from politics, dating, whatever. All of a sudden, we've given billions of people in the world a mouthpiece to send messages and communicate. Saya is not just a chat application, it's actually a business. So we monetize with advertisement. I know ads are not, it's in here. But we in emerging economies don't have access to information. We see ads as informational. I don't know where to go to get what. So if you send me an ad telling me where to go to get what, I respond to it. That's not the only thing that we do. Think about it. We are bringing people who have leapfrogged the PC age into mobile, 5.4 billion people, to now have access to a platform. So when I'm asked what do I see in the future, I see Seya as the platform. We are solving an SMS problem right now. But I see Seya as a platform that is going to bring internet access to people to have stuff like Yelp, iTunes, shopping on their non-smartphones. And we are here fundraising as well to bring this to the billions of people that actually need this. Thank you, TechCrunch.
Judges? Thank you.
The first question I have is, there's a company called Mixit that operates in Africa. They have about 50 million users, and they started life focusing on delivering messaging to feature phones. How are you different from them? Clearly, you've had wonderful success with your launch, and you're sort of trying to prevent the dam wall from breaking with all the demand. But why are you different from Mixit?
Okay, so Mixit has more or less morphed into a social media platform. And Seya is basically, so Mixit requires you to download the app, sign up for their service, get friends to do that. And we wanted to mimic SMS as best as we could. And SMS requires that you send messages to your phone contacts, right? And so that was the basics for us starting. And not only that, trying to bring location onto a phone that doesn't have GPS was something that really set us apart. All of a sudden, the majority of usage from our system was coming from that portion of our app. And then we open up group chat. So not only are you able to just get on a platform, it's for non-smartphones, but all of a sudden, you have an SMS replacement. And that's something Mixit, we feel, hasn't solved.
So does that mean you interoperate with people's phones that don't use your application, but then you have to pay for the termination charges for those messages, right?
So, to answer that, what we do is more like WhatsApp. So we connect people with their phone contact. So I'm in Robert's phone, he's in mine. Once we have the app, we are connected. Yeah, and we do that through the internet. So any phone that supports internet, our app will work on it, and then you are able to send SMS. You are able to send messages. So the difference between us and Mixit, like Robert said, Mixit is more like you have to join, like the way you join Facebook or something. But we ride on phone contacts, like what WhatsApp is doing for these feature phones.
Anyone else? I have a question. So the technology underlying the platform, obviously you guys have gotten amazing distribution already, but I've seen many messaging applications, even on like feature phones, and it seems like it's sort of, I mean, you can use Twilio to build this kind of thing. Have you built your own like backend for this stuff, and what would prevent someone else from building a similar product? Is it really the distribution that sets you guys apart at this point? I know part of that was probably addressed in the last question.
So our advantage is practically the fact that we are supporting those lower end phones. The technology is there, people can build it. But as of now, the focus is more on smartphones like WhatsApp, Viber, everybody is focusing on the smartphones. And we feel those lower end phones, they also need to have a rich message. So the advantage is not the technology, but we feel more people are focusing on smartphone. That's where the action is, and we are leaving behind these people. So we want to bring them in. Yeah.
So Facebook and Twitter in particular have done a really good job of creating messaging services that cross SMS applications and everything. Do you view them as your main competitors at this point? I mean, because they're trying to do this in some form and bring it all back into their networks and own the messages you guys send.
Yeah, so it's a chicken and egg problem, right? So we've seen that people in Africa use Facebook a lot. Facebook gives statistics that show that 80% of access to their system from Africa comes from mobile, right? And so we've integrated Facebook into that to allow people to also connect with their Facebook friends. Twitter is not so strong in Africa as it should be. But then at the end of the day, too, the carriers control lots of stuff in Africa. And people need a solution that just works. From their point of view, they want to cut cost of whatever. If it's free, they want it, right? And so Facebook is like another service on top of that. But if I can now send messages to my friends who are in my phone book, all of a sudden then I have, okay, there's Facebook, yes, but this thing is solving a problem that I have. Facebook is social, yeah, but it's not solving the messaging problem
And
they have.
if I'll add to that, so mostly feature phones, what Facebook and Twitter use is WAP. So it's more like you browse and the message comes. But this is a chat app that we push the message to you the same way you get your SMS. So you don't need to refresh. And we thought of cost, so we make it so thin because it's a socket connection. We push the text, so you don't need to refresh the whole page, which will be costly on your data. So ours is making sure it's very cheap, and we make it easy for you to communicate with your phone contacts, not just anybody.
So assuming that the price of smartphones keeps coming down, will this still be an opportunity in 5, 7, 10 years?
Yeah, so it's a question we keep getting a lot. So this is it. Before iPhones launched, you could just save up to 25 SMSs on your feature phone. Now there's iPhone, there's iMessaging. You have a backlog of 3 years of message history that you could go back to even see the very first time you said hi to your now wife who was then girlfriend, right? And so having that kind of data and smartphones getting cheaper, it makes sense to have a cross-platform application that when these guys are migrating, they also have something. And when you look at the emerging markets, the people who move to the rate at which people move to smarter phones are way slower than what's happening here. So picking a friends of like 10 friends, maybe 2 would get smartphones. It would take about 2-3 years for the other people to also get smartphones. So we see a 5-year period where people will still be hooked onto feature phones, but slowly migrating to smartphones.
Yeah.
And if you serve them here, you move with them.
So what we are doing right now, we are supporting, like you saw, we have a prototype that works on iPhone. We are building Android and BlackBerry. So we are not just focusing on feature phones. We are building cross-platform. So we are not saying just feature phones, because your friends may have smartphones, especially you might have your family back home in Ghana and you are here, and you use smartphone here. So you should be able to communicate with them. So we support smartphones too.
Any other questions, judges? I think so. All right, well, that was Say on Mobile. Give it up.